Yes, it is time. It is time, and I am here. I am Hope is speaking, and it's a great day. It's a fantastic day because I said it is, and because our words are powerful, because I said it, so it is. And also, it's an orange day. And orange is a beautiful color of change and newness and prosperity. And I like to radiate what I feel. That's why there's a beautiful orange hue today. And I'm excited. If anyone follows any of the moon cycles, it is a full moon and it's a blue moon. If you've ever heard anyone say once in a blue moon, well, that is this month. And a blue moon means that there's two full moons within the same month. So, what does that mean? That means that anything could happen. And I entitled this live Comeback Power because sometimes we do need comeback power. Sometimes we do need a little push when we feel like we've been knocked down. Sometimes we need that extra sense of inspiration or just a sheer word of, yeah, I can do it. Yeah, I can keep going. Yes, this is for me. And what that means when we need that word. For myself, I'm reminded of a time when I had to rebuild. I had to rebuild everything. I had to rebuild everything that was life for me. Now, I've lived a colorful life, okay? And I say that proudly because what's life if it's not full of color? I don't say mi vida loca. I don't say my crazy life. I like to say I've lived a colorful life, which means I have had to use that comeback power to inspire myself to rebuild. And I truly believe we all have been in these spaces where we've had to rebuild our lives, where we've had to rebuild ourselves, where we've had to rebuild how we feel about ourselves or how we feel about how the world sees us. So for me, this looked like getting kicked out of a country. Yes, yes. I have been refused entry from a country and banned for a year. Now, most haven't had this story happen because most aren't going to make the decisions that I have made. Thus, brings me to this point. I remember feeling that I just don't know where to go from here. How am I going to rebuild? Hi, Michelle. Thank you and good morning to you as well. Great morning, orange morning, glowing morning, hydrated morning. Continue to hydrate and thank you for being here, Michelle. I love the moment that you came in the room, you sent a greeting. That means a lot to me, and I'm happy that you're here. Thank you, interesting. Listen, hydrate and happiness. Hydrate and happiness. I often say in my lives, I'm not around no crazy people, so I feel good and it shows. And yes, it's an energized morning, afternoon, wherever you are. This is why. Thank you for liking the live and continue to like and share the live. I see it as a great day. And I actually felt challenged because I had a difficult night of rest. I don't know if it was because of the moon cycle. I often think that's why. Or at times, if I don't journal or get out what's in my mind, it's still there. However, I woke up and I will grab my journal if I can't sleep well. and I'll just write out whatever I'm feeling so I can go to sleep. And that also tells me what's going on. Why am I up? What is bothering me? What is keeping me up? Is it just that I can't sleep, or is it something that needs attention? And oftentimes it's the latter. It's something that needs attention. So if I don't have that full restful sleep, I will purposely make my morning full of energy, my favorite cup of tea, my favorite color. I'll usually wear a bright color to bring in that energy, that orange, that yellow, that red, that vibrancy, to bring it to me because I have to feel it to come speak. And it worked. And hydrating. I also am an avid tea drinker, as everyone knows. However, I have avocado leaf tea, and avocado leaf tea is great for just giving you some peace. And I feel it now. So, how do we receive our comeback power, which is how this live is entitled? Well, I will tell you. It started with me being refused entry from a country. Yes, I've been refused entry, technically kicked out. I don't know if it was deported, but in all actuality, somewhat, and banned for a year. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. I am so happy that I bring a smile to your soul. That is my goal. So I've accomplished it. Thank you. So, refused entry, kicked out. What am I going to do? What I chose to do is sit in my sorrow for a moment because I felt ashamed. Not many people can share the story of being refused entry from a foreign country. I wonder about that all the time. However, I like to say that it's because of my mother and father. To sit in it and allow myself to feel all the feelings. Now, being refused entry from a country is not something, again, that's typically felt or experienced. So there's also that slight confusion of what have I done? And when this happens, thank you. I appreciate all of the compliments. When this happened, anytime... Okay, to all 217 people that are in the live, when you are typically refused entry from a country, Summer, it wasn't really fear. There was no fear that I felt because fear, it was more of a sense of shame. Not really fear because I knew the action that was done and it was of my doing. And so I chose to sit in that discomfort of being refused entry from a country, kicked out of the country I was currently living in, and sent back to the US. And anytime you're refused entry, the country kicking you out does not ask you. Typically, or let me say, in my instance, the country did not ask me where did I want to return to. I was just returned back to the US. Not a specific city. I am a real human, and thank you. I was just returned to a city, which happened to be New York City, which was lucky for me because I had a sister who has been living in New York for the past 20 years. So when I landed from being kicked out, thank you for liking and sharing the live. I appreciate you, Conjet. I had to, well, first I was going through all of the thoughts while on the flight from Great Britain back to the US. My sister did not know why I was returning back to the US because I had been living full time in the UK. And so it was a shock to her to just have me pop up. And it was a shock to myself. And I share this story because it was a change. I immediately had to say, okay, I am no longer living where I had been living for the past 4 years within a matter of hours. What am I going to do? What has happened has already happened. What is my next option? What is my next action? And what's next? I can sit in this sorrow. I can feel sorry for myself. I could say, why did I do that? Why did this happen? Sure, there is an element of that needs to transpire. However, move past it and start moving towards what's next. Thank you for continuing to like and share the live, because who else do you know that has ever been banned from a country for a year and technically deported, but I think deported is for the duration of your life. I was just refused entry and could not enter for a year, which was a problem because I was still living and working in said country. But I digress. Let's get back to me landing in New York. Going to my sister's house. Yes, Tita. When I say I've lived a colorful life, I have. And the beauty of what that birthed in me, because now I am no longer in my residence in the UK. I am now sleeping on my sister's couch for an undisclosed amount of time. And I had to still say, what is next? I've been kicked out. I can't go back, at least for a year. So what am I doing now? How can I use this to my benefit, or how can I use this to rebuild? And we've all had those times, maybe outside of a relationship, or when we've hit a wall with our current circumstances, meaning we don't like our current occupation. We just don't like where we are in life. But to navigate, to say what's next, we really don't know. Well, yeah. However, Tita, it was of my doing. It was something I did. I wasn't just pulled and put on a flight and kicked out. I actually did it. Yes, you need to sometimes just know, okay, this is just a shift. This is a shift. And as I said, I've lived a colorful life. This is my doing. No one came and pulled me out of bed and said you had to go. There was actions that I took that got me kicked out. That's another live. However, how do you come back from that? How do you come back when your family is torn apart, or you get a divorce, or you are evicted, or you are let go of a job that you thought you were going to climb the ladder? How do you get back? How do you get back? Where does that comeback come from? Well, for me, it came from actually asking, okay, what do I want? I'm here now. Now I'm in New York. What am I going to do? And how am I going to do it? Luckily, I have shelter and I have money in the bank, so I can restart. But everything I know is in the UK, including my clothes. So we also need to build a new wardrobe, which I love. I have to say, I always love that. And I love just rebuilding a wardrobe, which I always do whenever I move. When I moved to Maui from New York, which was several years after being kicked out, I had about 6 closets full of clothes. Yes, 6. 6 large closets. I do enjoy fashion. It's not even about the shopping element, it's about style. It's about, I have shared in my lives that I love vintage clothing, secondhand clothing, vintage designer clothing. I have a specific style that I show every day. But I am now leaving. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate that, BBK. Now I'm leaving the East Coast and living in an island full time. I don't need a full length cashmere coat. I don't need a cashmere scarf. I don't need gloves. And it's okay for me to release this. So I easily let everything go to live on an island and to rebuild a wardrobe. But it's the thought of rebuilding. What do I need to let go of to rebuild? So while I was with my sister, which is always an interesting, yes, you can always use a good glove. Listen, Royal Hues, I love a good lambskin glove, which is lined with cashmere. It can be wrist length, it can be elbow length. I love a good glove. Oxblood, navy blue, black, suede. I love that. Okay. So, because of that, I will always pick up a good glove if I need to. However, to rebuild, I am now in New York on my sister's couch. I have sat and stewed in the woe is me. And sure, I'll take that. I like to say, Conjet, that I'm just hope. And I allow anyone else to label me, but I just show up as hope. I don't carry any of those labels. However, I find that quite endearing because authenticity is something I strive to live by on a daily basis. So thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So on my sister's couch, tired of saying, why did I do this? And finally moving into the space of, okay, I'm ready for what's next. And saying, what is next? What do I need to do to get to this new life? Because I can't go back to the old one. I've been kicked out. No opinions on Beyonce. It's nothing but creative love, gratitude, and inspiration. Well, that's the opinion there. So there you go. And because I had been living in the UK and Europe, France as well, for several years, I had thought that I would never return to the US. In fact, my goal was not to return to the US. My goal was to stay outside of the US for the entire duration of my life and visit my family because my parents and all of my sisters do live in the US, but it was never my goal to live back in the US. Then this happened. So, because of that, I stopped paying attention to any business that I had in the US. So the first thing I had to do was look diligently at my credit and everything that I had. And credit is actually easy to rebuild or to tweak because it's a pretty simple system once you understand it. And I had been taught this from my father, so I knew how. And my credit wasn't wrecked. It just was, I was living outside the country, so I just wasn't paying attention to anything that was on my credit report. So that was really my first step. Let me see what I actually have, what is actually following me, which is defining me. Because credit somewhat defines you. Not all the time. I actually don't think it's as large as some individuals make it. And at times, I do believe, thank you, Casey. That is funny. You made me smile. So I love you for that compliment. So it's very easy, and I would recommend anyone who is US based once a year to pull your credit report, which you can do for free. You can go to freecreditreport.com or any of the agencies and just pull it once a year. Once a year. Just to know what's going on. Sometimes you're unaware of things that are actually on your credit report. Um, yeah, sure. Later, however, I don't. Royal Hughes, anyone who's approaching me is typically going to be okay in that department. However, I can easily talk about money with my partners, and it is important. However, if we make a choice to go forward together, it's not a deal breaker. It's there's other things that we will build in life. However, that is a great thing to think about, and thank you for sharing that. So pull your credit report. Mine wasn't terrible. It was just that because I was outside of the country, I wasn't minding anything that was currently there. The first thing I do anytime my credit report is pulled and there may be a disparaging remark, I dispute everything. Whether it's true or not, dispute it. And also be aware of the timings with anything on your credit report, because at times things that should have fallen off haven't, and it can impact you negatively. So that was the second thing I did. Anything that impacted me negatively, I always dispute everything. Then go through, and you can actually contact the companies to just remove it. Which is helpful. From there, you can have a pretty good snapshot of where you stand. And most of the time, the fear of seeing what is there or what is not there will keep an individual from just pulling their report, which isn't helpful at all. To know is to be able to know how to go forward. And there's several pages. You can go anywhere on YouTube or on the internet to know how to do this. I can speak about this more because I do it often. The second thing was, after doing that, seeing where I want it to be. Did I want to stay in the New York City metro area? Did I want to be somewhere else? If I want to stay here, now I know what I will have to use going forward. Anyone who has tried to have an apartment, especially in New York, it's a different set of rules. It's completely different than anywhere else in the country. And even sitting with that thought, do I want to live in New York? Do I want to live in Jersey? Where do I want to live? What is next? Because then I'm in control. I have the power of how I want to proceed. Instead of saying the world is against me, no, I have the power. I know what's on my credit report. I know where I want to be next, so I can direct myself exactly where I want to go. And all it takes is time. All it takes is time. The time and the diligence to make it real for you. So, when that is the case, and that's what it was for me, it took about 3 years, because the first 6 months to a year, I still wanted to be back where I was originally. Just a minute. Okay, so I know where I want to go. I want to stay in the New York City area. Pull my credit report. Wasn't bad. It's just that I was living outside the country for almost 5 years. So anything that was already there, I just didn't pay attention to. Disputed everything, got things removed. And I always suggest that. Just go in to anything that's on your credit report and ask them to remove it. Ask them to remove it and look at the time, look at the dates, because that sometimes is the easiest way to have things removed. From there, I was already working as a flight attendant and had been for about, I was maybe at the 7 year mark by then, 7 or 8 year mark. So, okay, let's get back to flying. Let's get back to what I want to do. Do I want to still fly? Yes, I do. Okay, boom, got that. But with all of these steps, what's up, Joy for Life? Good to see you. It's subtly rebuilding. It's subtly rebuilding. And to have that comeback power, because I heard a saying that says a setback is a setup for a comeback. How are you going to come back and just jump out with like your fists like pow? How are we going to make this happen? Yes, thank you, thank you, thank you. And thank you for liking and sharing the live. This is why I have my orange on, because I love orange. It is a pure color of just vibrancy. And feeling that, yes, I'm making progress. I'm doing this, I'm doing that. Things are just working out, and truly feeling that things are working out. And it's not about the speediness of how all of this comes together. It's the fact that it is coming together. So I went from, yes, being kicked out of a country, refused entry. On the letter that was given to me when I was escorted out of the UK, I was refused entry and banned from entering for a year. I had been living in London for 4 years at that point. Now I'm in New York. Now I'm on my sister's couch. Now I got to figure out, what am I going to do, because I can't go back to the UK. And giving myself that time to sit in that sorrow of saying, what have you done? Hope, look, you just, Hope, how did you, why did you, what could happen? What, all of that. That's a part of it. I didn't even push that time away. Sit in it. Because that's how our brains are figuring things out. Then after all of that, okay, what am I going to do now? If I'm going to stay here, I got to sort some things out and start working towards that. Start doing the subtle things. Even the thought of, yeah, this is working out for me. It doesn't mean that it has, but it will. It will. Then taking those steps. For me, it was, if I'm staying here and I need to get a new apartment, let me pull my credit report, see where I'm at, where's my savings at, where are my investments at, what do I need to do to make what I want real now? What has happened has already happened. Ain't no need of me sitting down in sorrow and saying, woe is me. It's already happened. Let it go so we can grow. Right? So all of these are just steps to rebuilding, to having that full comeback power, to having that time of, I'm going to get there. I am getting there. I am in process. It is working out. Wow, I'm proud of me. Look at the progress I've made in the past 6 months, 12 months, 18 months, 24 months, 36 months. And for me, it was all of that. This is what has happened. But what do I want to happen? Okay, let me get back to the grind. Let me get back to work. It wasn't even me hanging out and finding friends. I already have friends. But guess what? The next friend of mine is a new place. So anything that wasn't in that direction fell off. Anything that wasn't bringing me towards my new apartment, my new life, that can wait. I don't need that. Whether it was TV, whether it was listen, I have a lot of fun just working out and being outside and being a flight attendant. I loved that. That was my source of so much learning and laughter and fun times. I don't need to be kicking it. If you asking me to go to a club, you gotta get a quick no. Hey, are they paying me to be in the club? Okay, then I don't need to be there. It doesn't bring anything for me. All it is taken away from my sleep. Okay, so that's not building my comeback. And really, honestly, taking a look and saying, what am I doing now that isn't bringing forth what I want? Even if it's people that I had surrounded myself with, which is absolutely fine. Y'all are fine, but you aren't bringing me closer to my goal. You aren't bringing me closer to the new apartment or to the new home or to the new whatever it is. So I can put you on the side because I'm trying to build something new. I've been kicked out of a country. I got to rebuild my life, okay? Most people don't even have this story. They have the story, you're welcome. They have the story of we broke up or I lost my job. Try being kicked out of somewhere that you had been living for almost 5 years. And you can't go back. What to do then? Because I was faced with that, it was less of why did I do that and more of what am I going to do to make this my biggest comeback? Because I'm not sitting, I call it the loser mentality. I'm not going to sit and stew in, man, I really messed up. Sure, I can for a little while, but that's not bringing me up. That's only bringing me down. How am I going to rise from this? How am I going to make this the story that changes everything? How am I encouraging myself to build upon where I am now? Let's go. And yes, it wasn't an overnight process. It took about 3 years. But in that 3rd year, when I found that new build apartment that no one had lived in, and I walked through and said, yeah, this is for me. And I moved in and I remember feeling like, whoa, I'm really proud of myself. I went from sleeping on my sister's couch to now I have the keys to my brand new apartment which had everything that I wanted from the elevator and the gym and the game room and all of that. And maybe this is why this happened. Less of why did this happen to me and more of, wow, I used this and I made it mine. I did that. Okay, I'm proud of myself. What's next? So when I'm speaking about comeback power, I'm not speaking about how are you going to just get back to what you were doing. I'm speaking about coming back from something that wipes out everything. For some of you, this may be bankruptcy. For others of you, this may be losing a family member or losing the love of your life or losing something that was so pivotal that you don't even know how to come back. And I'm here to share with you, it's in you. It just takes a little time. It takes a little tweaking. It takes a little re-energizing, shifting. Because we all have that comeback in us. And I haven't ever shared this story, and I got a lot of stories. This is why Hope is speaking, because I can speak about some real stuff. Listen, that flight when I got kicked out of the country was full of tears and regret. However, so what? It happened. So what? What are you going to do now? And luckily, in that moment, I had my sister. I did have somewhere to go. So that is a big part of this story. It could have been I was kicked out of the country and sent to Columbus, Ohio, or somewhere where I didn't have that safety net. But I did. And I flowed with that feeling of, okay, what is next? Let me take the steps. Let me pull my credit. Let me rebuild. Wow, I have this amount of money. Okay, so I can take that into savings and let me invest. And I'll share with you. I always like having a little stash of monies in different spaces. And my father taught me about investing. So since I was about 15 or 16, I had known about the stock market or mutual funds or CDs or small ways to make your money work for you. So anytime something happened to me, it wasn't that detrimental because I was already living on less of my salary. And this is a key factor. From the moment I started flying, because anyone who's new to my lives, I was a flight attendant for 15 years. I've seen the world thousands of times, been to over 60 countries, lived in Europe. And here's the greatest thing about the story. After that year, I did go back to Europe. But I knew I would always get to this point, meaning I knew there would always be a point where I said, I love to fly, but there's something else out there for me. So I thought about that diligently. When I started flying at 22, I said, there's going to be a point. Let me take it a step back. I never saw one job as the only occupation in life that I'm going to retire from, get the gold watch, and sail into the sunset. No. And I don't even see life in that way. This was a career that I had that fortified me, that brought me things and new ideas and expanded my mind and new people and languages and all of these things that I can package and use for something else. And that is going to happen. So the moment I was hired at 22, I actually sat down with my dad. And I said, okay, how can I make whatever salary I have work for me? I know what I'm going to do. 30% of my salary from the moment that I was hired went into savings or investing. 30%. So whatever I made, automatically X amount was gone. And I think that was helpful for me because it wasn't me transferring funds, it was automatic. So maybe it was a high yield savings. Maybe it was mutual funds, which I did a lot of. Maybe it was straight stocks because my father would always say, because you're young, you have time on your side. And matter of fact, I didn't even look at my stock accounts or mutual fund accounts often. I would quarterly or once a year with my father. But the point is not to be just like life, not to get off track just because the stock drops. So what? The stock market is cyclical. The point is whatever happening today is not going to affect you in 15 years. And I knew I wasn't going to touch that for a good 15 to 20 years. So it didn't matter what happened. And often individuals will check all up. Good morning. You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. Hey, a lesson shared is a lesson spared. However, everything is cyclical. Even in those low moments. Even in those low moments when you feel, I don't have money, that's not going to be forever. That may be a short amount of time, but it won't be forever. It won't be like this your entire life. And oftentimes, those are the times where we can sit and say, how did I get here? What do I need to do to restructure? How can I utilize my funds better? What am I doing to just drain my accounts? Do I even know money? Do I know how to make money work for me? Am I comfortable with money? Am I safe with money? Because a lot of us are walking through life with money wounds. We saw our parents or guardians or people in our neighborhoods not have it. And we have a fear of having it because we've seen people lose it. So we don't want too much because I could lose it. If that is your story, good afternoon, Mag. Listen, my private security is in the building. If there are any comments that aren't uplifting, positive, enterprising, funny, and engaging, you will be escorted out. And since my hopefuls are in the building, let's get these likes up. Mag, you know what to do. Everyone in the live, tap the screen because we need to get these likes up. Listen, I'm dropping jewels. I'm dropping these pearls of wisdom. It's up to you to pick it up and string it together. See, I know you like that. You ain't ever heard nothing like that. So, money. I enjoy money. I'm safe with money. I always speak money into existence, but I also say I'm safe with money. Money loves me. Money comes to me with ease. I don't need to hoard it and hold on to it because it's always coming. It's always coming to me. And I challenge everyone in the live to ask yourself, how do you truly feel with money? How do you truly feel with a lot of money? What's the largest sum of money that you had? Do you feel safe with that? What's the smallest amount? Do you feel safer with a small amount? Because then there's so much going on in our minds when it comes to money. And I'm grateful that I had a father that taught me that, because money is just a tool for exchange. And I've shared this in my lives. Money doesn't add or subtract from who I am. The number in my bank account does not make me a better person or a worse person. I am not that. And divorce yourself from the amount of money and you. Because that's big, especially in this country. Everything is built off of money, which that's just what it is. I don't see it as a positive or a negative thing. It's just what it is. It's once we're aware and we can use it to our benefit that these things change. And I'm sharing this because this is why I was so ready to walk away from flying, to start a new career, to start a new dream. And I wasn't fearful. Because yes, I had 401k and all of these things, but I had already trained myself to say, once you want to leave, that's okay, walk away. But also knowing that for 15 years, 30% of my salary was already going towards that what's next fund. And it was never a thought of me saying, I never want to touch that because I'll never have it again. I built it once, I'll build it again. It's just money. And also the comfort of that to start something new. But how often did you hear a 22-year-old speak in these terms of saying, you know what? Yeah, 30%. That means I have to operate on less, but less just means you got to get creative. So for me, with flying, hello, Nikki Sal, to you. Beautiful afternoon to you and everyone in the live as well. Good to see you. For me, less money doesn't mean less life. It just means be more creative. And I shared in one of my TikToks how, listen, since I was flying, if I'm coming to your wedding, I'm going to find a trip as a flight attendant where I'm working to said location. I had a friend who was getting married in Denver, and I said, I know this girl. I'm not taking time off for this wedding. I know that the food, I ain't taking time off for this. However, I will find a trip that will lay me over in Denver. So I'm working to Denver where she's getting married. So I'm basically getting paid to go to my friend's wedding. I'm getting paid to be at my friend's wedding. I am getting paid to stay in the hotel that's near my friend's wedding. And all of this is just because the lack of can create a creativity to do what you want to do. The lack of money just allows you to be a bit more creative when you allow it to be. When you allow it to be. I wasn't going to take off time to go to this girl's wedding. No. But do you know what it took for me to get that trip? I had to message probably 30 or 40 flight attendants who were working that trip and ask them to trade with me, but it didn't matter. Do what you have to do to get what you want. I'm not complaining about spending time sending messages to flight attendants to trade their trips for mine so I can be there. It was about, no, I want to be there and get paid for it and have the free hotel, and anything that I eat is a part of my per diem, and I am working back, and I just had to get creative. That's it. And I speak about how money can limit you. It's not, the lack of money just means that you have to be more creative. Maybe you need to reach out to someone. Maybe you need to find an opportunity that will put you where you need to be. While I was flying, I perfected my second language, which is French. And anytime, thank you. I'm glad you like that. Because listen, get creative. Quit allowing something as simple as money to stop you from anything you want to do. So as I was perfecting learning French, if I heard anyone on the flight speaking French, I'm speaking to them for the entire flight. Because a French tutor could be anywhere from $50, $75, $100 and up an hour. I got you on this plane for 7 hours going to Paris. In a metal tube. I'm practicing. Bonjour. Qu'est-ce que tu bois? Ah ouais? Non, j'ai étudié la langue à l'école et ma grand-mère parle français parce que elle a créole. I would just start talking. Because this is an opportunity that I can use to benefit me. And people won't say no. And even if they did, I'm probably just going to keep talking. This is how I get to the goal. Okay? You have to get to a point where if you want that comeback power or you want something, get used to a no. But a no doesn't mean a no to me. It just means I got to find a different way to do it. And no one ever felt uncomfortable being that tutor. Of course, it's me. You want to help me out, don't you? Another thing I did, anything that my company sponsored, my airline company, I'll do it. My company would sponsor the Tribeca Film Festival. It's very difficult to get into places like this because the tickets may cost an elevated price. Well, my company sponsors it. So they gave us a discounted rate or free. I'm going. That's a networking opportunity. That's an opportunity to do something that I like. I'm going. When I ran the New York City Marathon, that is a very difficult marathon to get accepted into. You typically have to run the other big 5, big 6 marathons, the Chicago Marathon, the Boston Marathon, San Francisco Marathon, Tokyo. My company sponsored it. So, yeah, I'm going to take the chance and enter the company's lottery to do the New York City Marathon. Use what you have to do what you want to do. There's so much that you can do outside of just pain, but until you expand your thought process, you will just believe you can't do it. While I was living in London before I got kicked out, my flatmate was a very well-known hairstylist who worked exclusively for the company Keracare. And she worked on the European side of the scientific side of the hair company. I naturally have big, thick, curly, full hair, which I think I'm going to grow out, but I like my short hair. So she said, Hope, listen, I have to do these shows all around Europe. Can I use you as a hair model? Of course. Hello, Detroit Sean. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm always happy to see you. Thank you. And drop some likes into my live, Detroit Sean, while you here. You know I love you. So, guess what? This was a woman's dream. She would do my hair every week. Deep treatments, cuts, colors, and use me as the hair model in these various shows. Thank you. You're a blessing to me as well. So I didn't even have to think about that. However, any woman in this live knows how much we will spend for these things. Thank you, Sherry. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate you. I really do. I took that and said, girl, you want to do my hair? You can wake me up at 3 a.m. Okay? Okay? I'm all for it. Thank you, Detroit Sean. I really appreciate you. So, again, this was another endeavor where all I had to do was say yes. Yeah, I'll be your hair model. Oh, okay. Can you show up here? Can you test out this shampoo? Hey, get in the chair. I want to do X, Y, and Z. And I was featured in magazines and shows. Sure. But all it took for me really was to say yes. And even from that, networking with other people at hair shows, and I did some other modeling spots for other things. But that was outside of money. That was outside of money. The fact that I was able to travel the world, and I love to talk, I'm talking to everybody on the plane. You never know who you are next to. And this was a genuine sense of expression. However, when I was able to open my mind to what I want to do, what I want to explore, people will help you out. But your mind has to be there to say, yes, I'm open to it. Also, when I would travel as a flight attendant, I would buy my groceries all over the world. So I knew, okay, I'm going to Sao Paulo this month. I'll go grocery shopping there, and this is where I pick up X, Y, and Z. It's just taking that expanded vision and saying, how am I making this work for me? How am I making this work for me? And that whole comeback power is, how am I going to come back? How do I want to re-energize myself? How do I want to reintroduce myself to the world? Thank you for liking and sharing the live. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Yes. Continue to double tap the live. I didn't put on the orange linen dress to not have the likes. Come on now. So, here's the other thing. When you feel like you're at the bottom, when you feel like you've hit rock bottom, there's nowhere to go but up. You can't go any lower than rock bottom. And often when we see it as rock bottom, it's not. It's a shift. We have to allow ourselves to shift. We have to be open to the shift. We have to be open to saying, all right, I'm here now, but where is next? And what is the step that I can take today? Sometimes it's always these small incremental steps. What can I do in this moment? What can I do in this moment? Can I send an email? Is it a journal or writing down what I want? Is it someone I need to reach out to? Is it just me sitting and thinking what's next? But what can I do in this moment? Not when I feel better, not when there's more money in my bank account, not when I find the love of my life. Now, what can you do now? Because it's all of these small incremental changes, which are the big changes, because it's always happening. It's happening now. We don't see it happening, but it is. If you look back at your life 6 months ago, it was happening. 6 weeks ago, it was happening. But to be aware that it is happening just means, what can I do in this moment? What's that one thing I can do in this day? What's that one thing? And let me do one thing every day towards that goal, towards that dream, towards bettering myself. What is one thing? Just one. Then maybe you can bump it up to 2 things. But the moment you start doing one thing, you automatically start seeing how easy it is to implement these changes within ourselves. All it takes is consistent, concentrated effort daily. That's it. Same thing with working out or changing our bodies. You will not lose 40 pounds in 4 days, but you will lose it doing something every day. I'm having a fantastic orange, fruitful, fulfilled, engaging, sexy, vibrant day, T. Wheeler. So this comeback power also comes back to congratulating yourself. To reformulate yourself, to re-energize yourself, to rebrand yourself, to come back from when you were low, you gotta congratulate yourself. Tell yourself you're doing a good job. Tell yourself the progress you made. Instead of saying, I ain't doing it, it'll never work, we ain't doing that. Again, that's a part of that loser mentality that I talk about. I'm a winner. The fact that I'm up speaking today, I've won. That means I'm doing what I want to do again. I've won. I'm going to pat myself on the back and say, I've done it again. I've shown up again. I'm ready again. I'm making it work again. I'm not focused on what everybody else is doing because my comeback power is for me. I know where I came from. I know where I'm going. I know the transitions I've made. Hello, hello, hello. Good to see you. And thank you for the beautiful compliment. Because I'm reminded of my niece, and she is a dancer at her college. She goes to Cal State Sacramento, and she said, I had this huge performance, and I wish more of you would have been there because I really put 10 weeks of rehearsals and time and into this, and the choreographer hired a nutritionist, and I really wanted you to see it. I said, that's great. Get used to that feeling because most of your wins will be only seen by you. Let me repeat that. Most of your wins, in fact, all of your wins, will all be seen by you. I'll get back to that. And I am doing exceptionally great. I'm grateful. I'm blessed. I'm lucky. I'm highly favored. And I look damn good today. So that's how I'm doing today. All of your wins are going to be seen by you. The moment you want other people to see your wins, you're still wanting that validation, which is it's understandable. We do like to see other people see our hard work, or see our dedication, or see our growth, or see what we have been striving to. But guess what? Most won't. They will, but not as much as us. And so I shared that with her to share that with you. Be your number one fan. Congratulate yourself. Be okay with people not showing up. You showed up. You said yes. You were the one that put the work in day after day after day after day. Yeah, I'm only going to be radiating those beautiful vibes. and positive vibes. That's what I do. But I'm not concentrating on someone patting me on the back. I'm patting myself on the back. I showed up. I started this live with talking about comeback power because I've done it many times. No one saw that. No one even knew that I had got kicked out of the UK. No one knew that I had been deported. No one knew that. They just saw a new apartment and me being in a new space. And I don't need, listen, I got to work on me and work on what's next. You see them win. But I get to see everything that happened and turn it into what I want. Because guess what? You're never going to be congratulated for that work. You're never going to be congratulated for day in and day out. You're never going to be congratulated for pumping yourself up when 5 minutes before you were saying, what the heck am I doing? How did I get here? But you will. And being able to say, I just keep coming back and I'm worthy of it and I'm proud of myself. What's up, Nick NY1? Good to see you here. Being proud of yourself, being proud of your developments, being proud of keeping your high spirits, your high vibration, your blessings, your luck, your good feeling, your good energy. That is the key. That is the key. Because also, just you being able to encourage yourself is one of the secrets. You can come and hear me. I'm always here to encourage you. But if I can inspire you to encourage yourself, then that is my goal in life. Because sometimes, and I'm worthy of this, and I'm guilty of the, not guilty. I've done this myself. Found others to say, hey, give me a word. And that's great. But if I can give myself a word of encouragement, of positivity, of upliftment, then I'm never going to be without that encouragement. And furthermore, I am my keeper. I am. So it's great when you see my win. It was great when I was contacted and I'm doing a TED Talk in October and the website went up and individuals saw my face on the TEDx website. It was great, but no one saw what it took to get there. They only see that win, that picture. I know what it takes. And that's why I'm even more inspired. Because I see it. I'm there with myself, encouraging myself, loving myself, fortifying myself. And to have that comeback power, that's what it takes. It's a cycle. It's a process. It's going to take more than what meets the eye. What's up, Tammy? What's up, Tammy? What's up? Good to see you. It is a process. It's a process of encouraging yourself when you're at a space where you just don't even think that you can do more than what you've done. But being able to say, you know what, Hope, you've gotten through so much. Let's do it again. How am I going to impress myself this time? Let's do it again. That's comeback power. That is truly comeback power. I had to come back from being kicked out of a country. I had to come back from several things. And every time I do, I look at myself with a sense of vigor of, I'm unstoppable. And that is the point. To be able to look within yourself and say, I am unstoppable, because you are. We all are. Sometimes we have to be reminded of that, but we are. Think of a time where you thought you couldn't be any further than you are now, and you did it. Remind yourself of that. Tell yourself good things. And this is coming from someone who's lived a very colorful life. Okay? I've shared with you this story when I was refused entry and kicked out of the UK. I shared the story of when I was technically fired. I like to say released, because I had taken a 2-hour lunch break, which I don't recommend. Didn't work out for me. I don't think it'll work out for anyone. However, that was just a transition in life, because if that didn't happen, I wouldn't have been led to the airlines. So maybe these are just redirections from something that's bigger than us. But for us to sit and say, I'm being redirected, how am I going to use this to my benefit? That's the secret. That's the secret. And in that 3-year journey of rebuilding, I was just strengthening myself. I was just impressing myself. I was just continuously building upon something that I had never seen within myself. And we are all able to do this. As I speak to you, I am still building upon myself. There is always something that's being worked towards. And we know it's in our minds. However, I challenge you in this moment to set something big, to set a goal. And it doesn't have to be written down. I don't always adhere to you have to do X, Y, and Z to accomplish. Everyone has different ways of getting what they want. But be sure to get what you want. What you want. And it's helpful when this seems so out of reach. It's helpful when this goal or this dream or this aspiration feels like it's in a different world, like it's impossible. Because then when it's reached, it's a whole new you that had to be born to attain it. And that breeds that comeback power. That breeds that new version of us that says, wow, I did it. What else can I do? Look where I was 3 years ago, and now I'm here. Now I'm here. And to be able to sit and smile at yourself and say, I did it. That is a part of the comeback power. Because there's always going to be something that we're faced with. But when we are able to say, I've done that, I can do this. This is easy. Pfft, look what I've gotten through. This is simple. This was nothing compared to that. That breeds that armor. That armor that's within us, that extra shield that takes us beyond heights that we never imagined ourselves in. And to do that time and time and time and time again, that's a beautiful act of resilience that inspires us. It allows us to show up differently. It allows us to be more than who we thought we were. Yes, and self-preservation. Thank you for that suggestion. That is a great choice of words. Because when someone says, yeah, you're selfish, you think of yourself. I do, yes. My goal in life is to take care of me. Our goal in life is to take care of ourselves. Now, when we have families, there's other levels to this. However, if I don't fill my cup, how am I going to fill somebody else's? How am I going to be able to inspire when I don't even feel like it? Yes, determination. That's right. And that's one thing I have, some determination. I'm determined. And I always laugh and say, ask my parents, because I was always determined. You tell me no, that doesn't mean no. That just means I got to figure out a different way to attain it. I got to figure out a different way. I don't care what you tell me. That's what I'm going to get. I don't care if you believe I can have it or not. I will get it. I don't care if you don't think I have what it takes. I do. And more so, I just don't care about the outside influence and world. Because what is important is what's inside of me. What's up, Umar world? That's what's important. I often say that. I don't care. I do, but I just don't care about things that will take me away from my power. I can quickly sift through that. And a lot of things are taking me away from my power. I take it out. Yeah, no distractions, raw focus. But what does that mean? And I've shared this many times in my life. It sounds good, but what does that mean to you? How is that showing up in your life in this day? How focused are you? How distracted are you? How willing are you to cut off everything? How willing are you to lose it all to get that? Sometimes it's not losing it all. Sometimes it's restructuring. Maybe I don't really need that. Or maybe what is for me is more than what I think I need. That's in the process, Sherry. There's a lot of things in the process. My current focus right now is my TED Talk. Apply, yes. But what does that mean? Because we can all be easily distracted. But how willing are you to say, I can't talk? And how willing are you to not even pick up the phone to say, I'll call you back? Don't worry. I don't need to tell you I'll call you back. I will. Well, Sherry, all of my lives are on my YouTube page, which is Hope is Speaking. So if you go onto YouTube, you can go to Hope is Speaking. That is my page. All of my lives are on my YouTube page. So go and subscribe. I upload every day. And there's also new things that I'm always uploading. I am a professional speaker, but I also cook. I also travel. I do a bunch of things. I wear many hats. I am here to live the most abundant life and live it as fully as I can. Okay? So, if you aren't on that, goodbye. Goodbye, goodbye, goodbye. Right? Thank you, thank you, thank you. You're welcome. I'm here just like you. Listen, I believe we're all a reflection of each other. We're all human beings. We're all in the same experience. We're all experiencing the same thing at a different point in life. That's it. There's something that you can share with me that will help in my life and my journey and vice versa. Or that's my way of seeing it. So thank you for that, Sherry. How willing are you to cut everything off? Listen, I probably live a pretty boring life. I speak, I write, I upload, I focus on certain things, and everything else isn't really in my trajectory. I had shared that I don't, yeah, it is. Some people are able to maneuver with many things. I don't. And I am aware of this, even with school. I have a keen sense of tunnel vision. When I want something, I see nothing else, and everything else falls by the side. Sometimes that's not helpful because that can be friendships and relationships and things of this nature. However, that is what's helpful for me. If there's something I want, I'm wanting that. I don't have the luxury to take on everything else. I jokingly say, you won't see me many places. You aren't going to see me in a club unless it's beneficial and positive, or me speaking, or something networking. I don't even care to be in the scene. I used to be. I've already done that all over the world. So for me, what is beneficial to me is whatever I'm building. And a lot of that is personal development as well as speaking. Outside of that, I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. If it's something gossiping, I really don't care. And I shared that yesterday. I'm not going to pick up the phone. I don't care. I don't care to have a meaningless conversation. If you're calling to check up on me, send a message. I'm building a new life for myself. It's not that I don't care about you or my friends. It's just that all of my energy is being put into this. I can still love you and think great thoughts, but we just don't need to be kicking it and talking all the time. There's a lot that I seek to accomplish. And being ambitious will at times take energy away from things that just aren't building what I want for my life. And that's in anything. If that's with fitness, I'm not going to be out eating with you at every barbecue because that's not for me. A lot of places I'm not going to meet you to eat because there ain't nothing for me to eat. No way. And sometimes the food is nasty. And I will often say, some people just don't know good food. But luckily I had a mother that cooked delicious fresh food and seasoned food, so I know what good food is. But other than that, I'm not out just, I have to be this diligent. I have to. I have to get rest and drink water. And what locals, Mag? Hey, you ain't sure. Now, Mag, okay. If it's an impressive set of locals, then okay. But outside of that, I ain't being seen. I don't care to be seen, okay? I'm seen where I'm seen. Outside of that, it doesn't matter to me. Yes, be unique and be you, Dr. Dan. But again, what does that mean? Yeah, who this woman? What does that mean for you? For me, exactly. Drink water and mind my business. Exactly. And I love that comment. Mental, spiritual, and physical health trumps the environment. Sure. However, be aware of your environment. Sometimes your environment has to change. Sometimes your environment changes unwillingly. However, just be aware. We spoke about this in yesterday's live. Being present. Being present. And I shared how if you're out with me and you got your phone on the table upright looking, what you looking at the phone for? You're with me. Okay? Anything on the phone can wait for after. Make it pretend that you are present. And I love change. I do. However, it's often said that individuals don't like change. change is inevitable. And I do like change. I like to change my environment, where I am, where I live, my thoughts, all of that. What's up, mommy? Nice to see you in the live yet again, and continue to like and share the live. So, we started this live with comeback power and what that means and how to come back when there is a setback. And I shared the saying that a setback is a setup for a comeback. A setback is a setup for a comeback. And I shared how I had to come back after being refused entry from the UK and what that looked like, because everything that I knew, including my environment, where I lived, what I did, was not there. And sitting in that space of what have I done and what do I want to do, and moving forward with that. And that process was about a 3-year process. These things take time. But after it's accomplished, the time that it took doesn't really matter. And it does take these steps. Sure. Now, let me challenge you, Dr. Dan. I don't see the world as a world of confusion. The world I live in isn't a world of confusion. However, you choose to see the world how you see it. That's the beauty of vision. I don't see, there was someone in my life who said, how can you stay so positive in this crazy world? I don't see the world as this desolate, crazy place. I see my space as hope's space, but I don't look outward and see devastation. In fact, if there was devastation, I can see the beauty in what can be rebuilt. But I don't see the world as a place of devastation, confusion, loneliness, and hurt. I don't see my world or the worlds that I see as that. And every individual has their view of what the world is to them. I believe that is beautiful. However, I am stating that is not the world that I see. And I can bring enough confusion to myself. As you've learned in this live, I've had a pretty colorful life of the choices that I've made. So I see it as figure it out. What are we doing next? It is not about them or anything outside of me. What am I going to do now? What am I going to do? It's not them. They didn't kick me out. I got myself kicked out. I am always going to take responsibility. I choose to be the solution for wherever I am. What am I going to do to accomplish what I want? Because the outside world is always there, but your inside world will dictate where you go. That's my truth. It's not the truth. It is a truth in a world of truths. However, the world is just the world. What I choose to do is up to me. And I'm unstoppable. What's next? What's next for me is the TED Talk. That's the next goal point for me. That is my focus. And thank you, Dr. Dan. I appreciate that. And also, I'm not, again, I said this earlier, I'm never going to stay in a space where, yes, exactly, Tita, where I am at a, what is the word? At a deficit. I stand in a space of power, regardless. I stand in a space of power. And because of that, I just see it differently. And I see solutions. So, yeah, of peace. And I protect my peace. So that is what's next for me. And continuing to build upon my new now. I purposely entitled this live Comeback Power because there's points in life where we're all coming back from something. However, to start from a point of power is the key. Now, Tita, I'm going to call you in, not call you out, call you in. The fact that I am here means that you're seeing it. That can be for me a space of not feeling empowered. When you say we need more people like you on TikTok, the fact that you saw me and the fact that I am speaking means there are others like me. I am only going to focus on a space of empowerment. It's not that we need more people like me. There are plenty of people that may have my train of thought or speak in some sense of positivity. However, the fact that you found me is the win. And if you found me, you know I'm around others that are like me. So, Tita, we're around. We're around, okay? And we're growing. And I speak about that. The hopefuls, Mag, who's always in my lives, Nick NY1, Nikki Styled You, Detroit Sean. These are a few of the hopefuls, okay? Yes, my name is really Hope. That's not made up. And the followers of hope are the hopefuls because we're empowering, we're positive, we're fun, we're beautiful, we're lively, we dance, we're the first on the dance floor. We may make some interesting life choices. However, we make it work for us. Okay? Exactly. And all it takes is one. All it takes is one. And I'm reminded of this because my father would say, thank you, good people, vibing always. Yeah, I sure am. I sure am. My father would talk about the law of averages, meaning if you do something X amount of time, you will have X amount of positive responses. You will have X amount of negative responses. You will have X amount of neutral responses. But it just comes with it comes with the amount of times you do it. Is that the thought? Let me come back to that. How are you stuck, Tita? How are you stuck? And it does, yeah, territory. It does come down to one. It only takes one. It only takes one voice. It only takes one person believing in your idea. It only takes one of anything. However, you have to be doing it for someone to recognize it or to see you or to be a part. Good morning, Alfred, and thank you for the compliment. It takes one. However, the one can discover others. And when we gather and collectively unify our voices or our thoughts, that's how things grow. And I believe that's also a beauty of the spoken word. I often share this. My father would often say, you don't have to like everyone, but you can get along with everyone. And finding that unique ability to find a oneness with someone instead of highlighting what's different or the reason why you don't agree or the reason why the person is wrong. The topic is comeback power, and I shared about how we can come back from anything. And I started the story of how I came back from being deported or being kicked out of the UK. Yeah. And that's the same thing as I said, thank you, Gen X common sense, absence of witnesses. How I said to my niece, get used to recognizing your wins because you're the only one that will see them. And sometimes others won't want to recognize your wins. That's a part of it. So what? If you don't recognize my wins, so what? I do. That's okay. I don't feel any sort of way, even with negativity. That's a part of it. I can use that to push me further. I can use everything to my benefit. And I've spoken about this, even if it's jealousy or envy. If I feel envious, that just means I'm seeing something in a person that I would want in myself. Instead of using my voice to spread negativity about a person, place, or thing, use that same energy to push me towards what I want. We can transmute that into something positive for ourselves or something for forward movement or something to develop a skill. But to use it to just pull someone down, I'm not going to do that. That's not powerful for me. And I like the sense of, hey, how can I transmute this to my benefit? Oh, okay. Yeah, sure. I can understand if someone felt discomfort with my power, with my confidence, with how I walk, with how I talk, with how I carry myself, especially if that's not where you are now. So what? That has nothing to do with me. That only has to do with that individual and how they see life through their lens. That's a powerful statement in itself. I don't care what anyone thinks about me. And I really don't, because I know what matters. And I spoke about this. My health matters. The words that I speak to encourage matter. The relationship with my parents and people in my family matters. The health of them matters. What I put into my body, that matters. But what did you think about that show? I don't think about it. I don't watch it. I don't care. There's enough energy that has to be utilized for this. I'm not even trying to change anyone. It takes all of your energy to change yourself. And it's not about stress for me because my thoughts about stress change. I've never cared for stress. I'm not stressed. I don't. If you stress me out, first of all, you're not going to stress me out. I don't allow people to stress me out. But if you do, you probably will get cut from my life after a conversation. I will have a conversation with you and then you'll get cut. It's that easy. I don't allow people to drive me nuts. I don't have that luxury. And after my father had a stroke, I really upped the ante with how stress will affect me. I'm not playing that. No way. You are out of here. Whatever it is, if it's a person, place, or thing, you're gone. Because stress doesn't have a benefit. It doesn't have a benefit. Now, a little healthy push, possibly, But stress where I'm not getting sleep and I'm losing weight and I'm worried, that's not beneficial. That can only take away from my life. That's not what I care to build upon in my life in any way. Not for me, Gen X common sense. Now it can be labeled something else, but I can't wait either. Yay! It's October 7th. If you go into my link in bio and go to TED Talk, you can see more about it. Or I don't know if it'll be streamed. Let me talk a little bit about that. My TED Talk is being filmed in Karlsruhe, Germany. And it actually came about through another speaker that I engaged with through Toastmasters, because that's really how I honed my skills with speaking and finding my voice as a speaker. And so when I was selected and a friend of mine said, Hope, I gotta get you on this TED stage, it was like, wow, okay. And that did bring, it wasn't stress, but it was that feeling of, it's time. Are you ready? And this is what you asked for. So is this really what you want? Put into it. Because there have been elements of me that have gone straight into self-sabotage, where I have procrastinated. And good afternoon, Lav Stewart. Good to see you. Good to see you. Procrastination, negative self-talk. And I had to dig deep into what that meant for me, where that was coming from, why it was there, and release that. Because if you're a winner, you're here to win. You're here to win, not here to have to do something. Avocado leaf tea. So with my TED Talk, and I will, that's right, Dr. Dan, no stinking thinking. Absolutely. So with the TED Talk starting on the 7th of September, I will be doing a lot more visibility with TED. And I'm going to be doing something like 30 days until TED. So starting September 7th, I will be doing something daily, and you will be seeing uploads and new things working towards that, because this is the biggest stage for me as a speaker. This is something that I aspired to. I spoke and worked into existence, and it's a proud moment. And that's what it is. It's a moment for me to build upon. It's not it. There's things after. However, it's a check-in point of, okay, look at where we're at. And for me, it's also a space for me to share these words of positivity in my way. Because truly, when I decided to step into the space of speaking professionally, I saw the women and the men that I respected as a child, whether it was Maya Angelou or Nikki Giovanni, or I loved the book, And to Help Myself. Thank you, Tita. Shel Silverstein, that wrote The Light and the Addict, or Where the Sidewalk Ends. And these pivotal, prestigious speakers. And I said, yes. And even to speak life into people, regardless of their age. I thought it was going to be only for young people, but the beauty of the spoken word is it transcends. It transcends age, gender, race, all of that. However, someone needs to hear it from me. Someone needs to hear it from this hairstyle, this beautiful skin, the cadence of how I speak. And I take a high reverence for that. I'm meticulous about what I say. I'm meticulous about the words that I deliver. I'm meticulous because words are powerful. And as I was speaking to my niece, who's 13, and she lives in New York City, and she had spent a month at camp upstate New York, a performing arts camp, and she had said something to me that attached to a part of me. And she said, you know, Auntie, while I was at camp, I felt more comfortable. I didn't feel the fear of bodily harm. I didn't feel the fear of being assaulted. And I thought, whoa, a 13-year-old actually has this conscious thought, and what that feels to carry that, even as a young person. And it allowed me to be open to a space of, wow, you never know what people are carrying or thinking. And yes, thank you. Purposeful speaking is passionate to the soul. It is. And I'm often inspired by my nieces and nephews, as well as everyone in my family. But for them to say, that is my aunt. That's my aunt on the TED stage. And saying some, good to see you too, Mr. James. I'm always happy to see you in my lives. To be giving a word that's purposeful and meaningful and positive, and being that type of role model, and being honest in my stories, even how this was crafted today. Because it can be an interesting time with puberty and being a teenager, any time in life. But to see someone that you actually can say, wow, yeah, I respect that person, and that person is putting out something that maybe is helpful to me, or something that I want to do, or her seeing the journey because she saw me. That sister that I was sleeping on her couch, her daughter is this niece that I'm speaking about, and her seeing that. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I always learn from them. It's both. It's a symbiotic relationship. I learn all the time because this is a different time. And her seeing me be on the couch and being the flight attendant, and having my space, and then moving to Hawaii, and then leaving flying and becoming a speaker, and all of this. Thank you, Steve. I appreciate you. That's a kind compliment and much appreciated. And just feeling inspired to inspire others in my own way. I don't feel like I have to show up in a certain way. I just show up and speak. I just show up as me. And I will continue. And I will continue to weave these stories with some of the choices I've made, and how I have used these choices and these spaces in life to launch me to a new space. Because we're all constantly in transitions. And that's what I love about speaking. That's what I love this is why it's Hope is Speaking. I think grown-ups realize it. I think at times I don't know. I realize it, and this is why I'm so close with my nieces and nephews, because just listening, not always offering advice, but just listening is therapeutic. Because I've already gone through that. I've been 13, 14, 15. We've already done that. But to hear the experience in this time for where they're at is different. And Counselor Cat Mom, you're back, is helpful. It's helpful. And seeing how her friends, they love me as they should. But knowing that there's something for me to learn from her, and from her to learn from me, and seeing that cycle and feeling proud of her and her feeling proud of me. And buying her the coolest threads because my nieces and nephews are going to be the flyest. Okay. And she's currently in Italy. She had said, I have to go because we're packing tonight. We're going to Italy tonight. And I thought, wow, that's so fantastic. Yes, happy Wednesday. This may be hump day or halfway through the week, depending where you are in the world. In some places, this is the end of the week. Places like the UAE, Thursday is the end of the week. It is the Friday. So depending on where you are, this is halfway through. And to be here to say, you know what, let's finish this day strong and let's finish this week strong. Not just drag on with the monotony of life. Nah, put on that dress, put on a new lipstick, go buy a new mascara, put on a nice icy white shirt that's crisp and clean. Feel good about yourself. Feel inspired. Feel intentional, like, yes, this is for me. I'm going to make this day great because it is. And watch that bloom. Watch that go. I am truly inspired because, like Counselor Cat Mom and now Tita and the others that are in this live, you are on this journey with me too. And I made a journey to show up every day on TikTok. I do take breaks. I do. To create means I have to live life. But to show up every day and slowly see these subtle progressions and changes. And when I went to the TikTok headquarters a couple weeks ago, I think it was earlier this month, that was that check-in point. Of, wow, you are showing up, you are doing it, you are being recognized, and just keep going. Being recognized is great, but it's not the end. And that beauty of continuing to build upon ourselves, to build something for ourselves, saves your Mag, as I said, I'm always dropping pearls of wisdom. It's up to you to pick them up and string them together, okay? And to just continue. Just continue. Even when those milestones are hit, to continue. I got here. Where else can I go? What else can I do with what I have? How else can I help? And I thought about that because helping homelessness, especially in this country, is a space that grabs me. And I started visualizing how I can help, how my nonprofit can help, how I can aid to the solution instead of saying that's something that calls to me. And what does that look like when you help? How can you help? What are you setting up to do? What resources can you use? Because the spoken word is great. However, to be out there and to give a word to someone, to aid in someone who may not feel like they're even worthy of being seen, you got to show up. I tell myself that every day. I had to tell myself that this morning. You got to show up. So what does that mean? Maybe you got to put on, the linen dress. Maybe you got to put your face on, or what would my father, paint your face. Maybe that will give you the incline to say, yeah, I'm really showing up. Do what you got to do to allow yourself to blossom in this moment. There you go, Darren, as you should. Now you say my as ownership, and I am my favorite. I am not claimed by anyone. However, I will take that as a compliment, Darren. To show up really means to show up, though. To show up vibrantly, not show up like I'm here, y'all. I barely made it. Nah, with a smile. I want to see you show up. Yeah, exactly. And sometimes that's me too. Give me a hug. Send me a hug. Send me a gift. Let's get this to 10,000. We're almost there. I'm all on that 10 because 10 is completion. 10 is the number of completion. And we're almost there. And also, thank you, Den. Now you're my number one gifter, and I love a gentleman that with gifts. To know that we're all doing the best we can in this moment. I know you're ready for your hug, Darren. Thank you. Have we? For me, it says 8.8. What you tell Mag? Okay. I back up. I guess I'm a little behind, Mag. You the head of the private security, so I'm sorry. What it's showing for me is not that. Okay? Give me a break. Thank you, Den. I appreciate the crown. You know, I wear it well. And let me add to this. Even if you're tired, that's okay. If you're exhausted, that's okay. If you don't know how you gotta show up, that's okay. And still show up. Exactly. See, Tita is over here telling you, Mag, so I don't know where the disconnect is, but me and Tita don't see it, so don't come over here playing with me. Not in the orange linen dress, okay? With the pockets. What's up, Blessed Tone? Showing up means showing up when you're tired. Showing up means showing up when the bills is late. Showing up means showing up when you just had to drag yourself out of bed. That's a part of it. I'm right here with you. I do everything I can to show up with vibrancy. There you go. And you can change that. I'm not anxious. I'm just on edge for the greatness in this day. There you go, Counselor Cat Mom. We can always just change the wordage. The words that we use are building our life. I know I am. You know, after I took my sexy walk this morning and I had journaled, I did some laps in the pool because I love a great swim. And then I lay out in the sun because it brings my glow together. Thank you, Din. Oh, you know what? I'm going to have to bring out my flower crown because I do have a flower crown. And I purposely lay out in the sun, and I have like a set of words that I use when I'm laying out in the sun, where I say, let me absorb these rays and let me shine bright like the sun, and let me allow these rays from the sun to illuminate the goodness in me and illuminate my words and illuminate the vibration of my voice. I say all of this. Exactly. And that's a part of it. Me too. It's this full moon as well. Because full moons do have that ability to kind of shift us. However, as I started this live, I shared with you, it is a blue moon, which means 2 full moons in 1 month, which is one time this year. So there's a full moon today, and there was a full moon the first week of this month, and that is what a blue moon is. That's why that saying is once in a blue moon, because it doesn't happen often. So maybe you're just feeling this because there's something great coming. Thank you, Din, from my swan. Wow, I've never had the swan. Thank you, Din. There's a lot of magical things happening. There's a lot of blessings happening. There's a lot of things going on that we can't see. Maybe that's why you're feeling that. Maybe you're feeling a little anxious because there's something beautiful coming. There's something behind the scenes that the angels are working out, that things are working out behind the scenes that you don't see yet. So your body is just retuning itself. I don't know. That's how I see it. And I feel it. I do. I feel really good today. And I had to put a little extra in to allow me to show up. But I do what needs to be done because I'm not going to come on here and complain and be in a lower space when I know I have what it takes to get me there. And I love these earlier morning lives, which I will stick to because it definitely starts my day in a beautiful space. I love hearing from all the hopefuls and everyone in the live that they find some inspiration or motivation or the caffeine they need for the day. That's why I speak. That's why I am here. And again, as I say, all of my lives are on my YouTube, which is Hope is Speaking. Go subscribe. You can find all of my lives. You can just turn it on and go clean or do what you need to do. And thank you, Darren. I am quite a kick in the pants. That's what I say. I am getting my subscriber count up, so I will be ever so grateful when you go to YouTube and subscribe to me at Hope is Speaking. I love it. I love this. I love this. And I will continue to do this and build upon this and bring you with me on the journey to the TED stage, and even me traveling back to Europe because I will be in Germany and I will be sticking around there, and there's some things going on there. I am just fortified and excited that this is the point that I'm at. And it's because of you, and it's because of these words, and it's because thank you, Tita, and thank you, Mag. Thank you, Mag. Thank you, Mag. We got up to 10,000. And just feeling that today is that day. Instead of saying today is terrible, today is that day where something great happens. Thank you, Stephen. I don't know what, but I know something great is happening in this day. Something great is happening. There's a glow for a reason, and truly believe in that and being open to what will come. Because even those two thoughts creates a beauty. Thank you for my galaxy. I am so fortified from this live. This is why I come on. I truly love this. And I am just at a loss for words with the gifts, with the galaxy, with the upliftment, with everyone that comes on and says something beautiful that encourages me, because that's what I came here to do. You hear me? That's why we have the collarbone and the glow and the oil. You know, I got to do it. And I'm getting in prime position to be on that TED stage. I got to show it. Mag, why that face? Why that face, Mag? That should be you should have the star eyes like Den, okay? You know you my favorite. I always shout you out, so let's go there. Okay, well, come see me. I'll be there, and then I'll go hiking. I'll be in like the Black Forest Mountains, or I will go to the Dolomites, but one of the two. And the Dolomites is something that's been on my bucket list because I am that person that loves to be outdoors. I love to be outside. I love it, love it, love it. And I look good in the sun. So be the reflection of love, because we all come from an infinite source of love. Like Counselor Cat Mom did today, show up. Show up. Show up. All you got to do is show up. All I had to do was show up today. The rest is already done for you. But when you show up, really show up. Make it look good. Go get that linen out the closet. Go put some bronzer on your cheeks. Put an extra moisturizer on. Drink some water. Okay? Make it look good. Don't come to me all dried up and not moisturized and your eyes ain't bright. They close like this. Nah, I want to see the bright white teeth. I want to see the bright eyes. I want to see the brightness in you. When you show up, make it look good. And know that there's beauty in this day. Doesn't matter if you haven't received it yet. It doesn't matter if you don't believe it. But there is beauty in this day. Why? Because I said it. And I'm Hope. So I know what I'm talking about, okay? There you go. And make sure it's mineral water. Like, put some minerals in you. And now I'm going to go eat some food. And I will be back on, as I always say. In the meantime, go, Darren, Counselor Cat Mom, everybody, subscribe to my YouTube. And let's just look forward to the beauty in this day. With that, I love you all. And continue to radiate the beauty that we've created. Because we've truly, truly, truly created some beauty that will flow through your entire being. Through this entire day, through this entire month, through this entire year, through your entire lifetime. How about that? Thank you, Dr. Dan. I'll see you later. Darren, I've had enough. You guys have to battle it out with Mag because you guys can have a battle. That's all I'm going to say. I am out. Ciao.